These things are always amazing.
Well, Andy, February in Montreal means no gigs.
Oh man, no money. I'm running low on inventory. Oh, one last bottle. We'll do it up real special.
Warm gin, one less pack around. Thundertone broadcast will make it sound shocking. This is Vincent speaking. Yes. Andy, I just had a completely legit real phone call. We got a gig. There's a big Hollywood production remake of an 80s TV show. It's in the works. They got an award-winning director attached. They want us to record the theme song. The money's great. Conditions are great. They even got catering covered. On-site chef. You're gonna like this. Open bar. Transport fees are covered. Portion of the back-end profits. And you know what? All the previous musicians were killed in a vicious knife attack.
Oh man, open bar. Let's go. These are the Thundertone broadcast offices, but where are they?
Let me try recalibrating Heisenberg compensators on our holographic quantum shifter. The more precise the location, the less precise the time.
Time might be precisely what we're running out of. We have to stop them before it's too late.
I'm fine. It was so gruesome. They got all over the studio. Like all over the studio. Sorry. I love you, mother. Bye. Oh my God! You're alive? With the sound of music, musicians, I believe you're supposed to be here.
Yeah, anyway, I mean, we're from Thundertone. I heard that you had some kind of emergency recording situation on your hands. Hey there.
Don't mind me, just making sure there's no more mess. Glad you all... Well, that's weird.
Yeah, hi, I'm Vincent. This is Andy.
Ryan. Johnson Rian. I'm the building super. Nice to meet you.
Oh, I thought you were the recording engineer or something. You could say you subverted my expectations, Johnson Rian.
And I'm Kalden, legal assistant's clerk's assistant. We know each other. We've been having some little itty bitty power issues. And so the audio equipment, because of that, it's not really working too well. But we could all hang out. We can all chill. We got the table, the chairs.
Well, I mean, Andy, we're here. We're paid by the hour. Want to talk about movies?
Sure. I just saw Marvel Studios' Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. You want to talk about that?
Let's do it.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Pull up a chair. Let's talk.
And I haven't seen it, so I'm gonna leave.
Hey everybody, welcome to The Breaks, our new movie and TV review show. I'm Vincent.
I'm Andy.
I'm Johnson.
And today we're going to be talking about a new classic of modern cinema, Marvel Studios' kickoff of Phase 5, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania in the Multiverse of Madness.
Scott Lang and Hope Van Dyke, along with Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyke, they don't mention Cassie Lang, but she's in there too, explore the quantum realm where they interact with strange creatures and embark on an adventure that goes beyond the limits of what they thought was possible.
What is possible?
Who is possible?
Failure. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Well, on that
not
note,
supposed to say that?
what did you guys think of the movie, Johnson? What are your thoughts overall?
Sorry, was that a little harsh? I didn't mean to say failure was possible. I mean, failure was what they did. I've been a fan of the Marvel films for some time, and I thought this one was going to be, Phase 5. We've had some solid phase starters, and then you get to this one and you're like, interesting. First of all, I was a little disappointed that to make them get into the quantum realm, Cassie's just like, I'm just a kid, and I built this with Grandpa. Me and Grandpappy just made a little old satellite that goes down into the quantum realm. Oopsie doodles. I guess we're all being like...
Quickly, I'll say that I did not enjoy it either. I was really hoping to enjoy it because I saw a lot of the bad reviews, and I was like, well, I'm hoping that like it's just it'll be like flip it on its head. It's like, no, it's actually good, but I did not enjoy it. Before we get into a little bit further on the story, do you want to give a quick impression?
Sure. I'll give you just a little sort of context from where I'm coming from as well. I'm not a comic book guy. I haven't read the comic books. I don't know the lore very well. I am caught up on most, but not all, Marvel TV and movies. And I really did, out of all of them, I'm not a massive fan, but I've enjoyed some of them more than others, definitely. And Ant-Man, I quite liked. And the Ant-Man and the Wasp, the second one, I also quite liked. So I went into this reasonably excited. I never get too excited for a Marvel movie, but yeah, it did disappoint on that level. We can get into why later, but it didn't deliver on what I was hoping to get from an Ant-Man movie that I'd experienced in the past. And as far as just a Marvel movie overall, it gave me a lot of what I've already seen before, but not as well done as I've already seen it. So overall, I was disappointed. I didn't hate it, although I didn't have a lot invested in it to begin with. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. For me, it even starts at the title. It really should be just Ant-Man Family or something. And you were saying that Cassie's in it, that she's not mentioned in the byline. But I mean, the whole family is involved, and it's actually kind of an interesting premise that you're getting this whole multi-generational crime-fighting team or whatever.
It could be like Ant-Man Senior, Ant-Man Junior,
Yes.
Wasp
Senior,
Ant
Wasp
Wasp.
Junior.
I guess there's a daughter. She's Ant Wasp or something. I don't know.
Oh, Stinger.
Stinger, just Stinger. Yeah, because
Yeah,
she's cool and hip. Yeah.
colon.
I don't think
Quantumania.
Okay.
Sorry, I got it wrong. It's Ant-Man 3, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and Ant-Man Senior, and Wasp Senior, and Stinger. Colon.
Double colon.
dot.
The old double
Quantumania.
colon. Man.
And Kang.
Yeah, and Kang. Plus Kang.
And MODOK. Yeah. So let's talk a little about plot. So we said that the initial premise is that Cassie builds this device to get them into the quantum realm. They go into the quantum realm. It's wild and crazy. Jonathan Majors is the bad guy and is out to kill people. They have to kill the big bad, or they have to stop the big bad. It's very, very cookie cutter kind of thing. There's many levels of problems in the movie. I think just on a plot level, why did they get drawn into the quantum realm?
I remember when at the end of the film being like, wait, how did they get pulled in?
Yeah.
And my buddy said to me, yeah, MODOK did it. And I was just like, oh, that's weak.
I felt like these were just sort of quick and easy tools for them to get to what the point was to get to the world. That, and they could do all their adventure story. But even the machine that Cassie built, I have not a clue what its function was. She said something about a map. Yeah, it's like a mini Hubble space telescope in the quantum realm, but then it's like she's going to build a map and she would have been able to find her mom.
Like a satellite for deep space, but quantum. Like a satellite for deep space, but quantum.
The thing I don't understand is we've already been told that you can travel through time with the quantum realm, but then Kang is down there and wants to be a time traveler, but somehow can't travel through time in the quantum realm, even though we've been explained that the quantum realm was how they traveled through time in the past. The character lives in the quantum realm is outside of space and time, but we've used the quantum realm to travel through time. Like you've previously established that universe. That to me just seemed weird.
Maybe it's something where earlier they would have had to build up more about how difficult and dangerous it is to do this, and that it fails many times. Like if they had people who tried to do it and failed and died.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Then, I mean, that was one of the problems with the Infinity End War thing. Oh, now they can just travel through time? And, like, doesn't that just fix everything? So they have this limited resource that they only, blah, blah, blah. But then in this movie, apparently they have tons of PIM particles. So it's
everywhere,
like,
growing
what?
on trees.
Yeah, you know.
Hope has that new company. You could pick it off of a branch. It's ridiculous.
So they're but you know, for me, I'm like, I'm willing to let that inconsistent, because otherwise the character, you have to completely redefine the character and their abilities and everything, which could be interesting, but it's a much bigger, demand.
And I'm coming with the luggage, the baggage of knowing Kang through the comic books and knowing he's like a time travel genius. So it felt weird to see him not understand this one realm that's been shown to be time travel related. He can't figure it out. But
so let's talk a little bit about backstory. There were several moments in this movie where I was like, man, I wish this was a Disney Plus series. Because when they talk about the whole years and years where Michelle Pfeiffer is a renegade and like Kang is building up his empire, I'm like, that could be awesome.
None of that was shown. That was all revealed in this movie, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and just in case I'm wrong, it was a bit of a reveal that the quantum realm itself was populated.
Yes, even
right?
that is.
That's a big reveal, because
Yeah.
at least in terms of the movies.
Exactly.
Anything I've ever seen in the quantum realm, it's really desolate.
Yeah.
There's not much going on, and she's seen, from my understanding, she was there like really alone, really like solitude, a lot of solitary, and then made her way back in the other movie and all that. But surprise, there are whole cultures.
Yeah.
And
There's
all
bars.
these alien species.
So here's this thing. Like, imagine we had a 10-episode Quantumania series. The first 3 episodes are Janet Van Dyne solitary, trying to survive. Or maybe in the 4th episode, she meets some locals. Locals, developing it, meeting Kang. He's starting to take over and then develop it. Like, this would be like an epic story that should be told.
Quantumania, the show.
Yeah,
especially
you know what I mean?
the freedom fighter side.
The
Like, there's a
freedom
whole
fighters,
story there of like,
Yeah.
you fought wars against it. Like, that's kind of interesting. And for it to be a 2-bit line in a bar is really weird.
Not only a 2-bit line, but the most annoying like script writing crutch of like, why won't you tell us what you did? I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to. No, we're not going to. I'm going to talk. No.
I hated that.
How long does it take to travel from here to you? I've got 2 hours to travel. And tell them what you did in the last
I hated that.
I see what you're saying, Vincent, and one thing that I did enjoy about this movie was that I'm a real sucker for is all this inventive and imaginative.
down for that.
All the production design, all these people, these creature designs, all this stuff.
Yeah.
The glass cylinder head guy.
Yeah.
The Bass. I love that character.
Yeah.
So bizarre, and that's really fun stuff. But there was so much of it. It was just so much of it that I could see that and not explained or explored. I could see that drawn out and sort of fleshed out over time. The problem that I see with a 10 episode series, for example, is that I really honestly just hated the world.
Right.
Particularly for the
Aesthetic?
backgrounds, it was exhausting. Like,
Yeah.
it's not enough to have a dozen new types of alien species, quantum beings or whatever, but then there's just all this crap in the back that's just like, and it didn't particularly look all that great. It's clearly CG,
Right.
and it was exhausting for
bad
that. It
green
was like visual noise for most of the movie. Yeah. And when they did get back to the normal world or whatever, regular sized world.
Yeah.
It was so shocking and such a breath of fresh air. He's walking down the street there, giving his little narration and stuff. I was like, oh, thank God we're out of there. Like, it's exhausting. Anyhow.
That was, I think that was possibly one of the worst green screen usages in a Marvel film.
Wow.
At least in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because I've seen all of them so far, and I've never seen something look. It feels like someone told somebody to just Pollock it. Just throw all the colors you can in the background, and we're gonna just kind of put people in front of it moving around. And it's,
Did you ever see this Key and Peele episode or the skit about Gremlins 2?
yes,
The
yes.
script fixer?
Yes.
Right. He comes in, he's like, who's got a crazy idea? And they're like, what if we had a bad gremlin? He's like, it's going to the script. And that's how
Hulk
this movie
Hogan.
felt.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes. When it came
Shove it
to the
in there.
background
Yeah.
and the like design, it really did feel like someone was just like, okay, we're gonna have a scene in a bar. Okay, how do we want the background to be? And then just verbal diarrhea.
Yeah.
The idea of what the background could be, and no one said, maybe we should cut back.
Exactly.
Tone
it down a touch.
What is it that Coco Chanel says before you go out? You take off one accessory. That was one of those situations where it's like, guys, take out two things, 3 things for the background.
Yeah.
It was heavy. It was heavy.
Yeah,
very
it's a
much so.
lot. I found it tiring. Just
Yes.
overall,
Yeah.
just for the eyes and And it made me kind of just not less engaged with what was happening plot-wise, as little as there was, at least, I guess for somebody that knows the lore a little more, and maybe I missed a couple things, a couple movies or whatever, but for me it felt super, super thin. It was just an excuse to have a big battle down there,
Talking about great character designs and all this kind of thing, there's a couple of movies I want to bring up that are examples of how not to fail at doing what they did in Ant-Man. And the first one is Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Thor Ragnarok, wild, crazy. In fact, I feel like it was almost a template for this movie because in place of Jurassic Park guy, The Fly,
Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum. In place of Jeff Goldblum, we've got Ghostbusters guy, Bill Murray.
Bill Murray. Oh my
gosh.
Ghostbusters
There we go. So sorry.
Wait, no, he's Caddyshack guy.
Yeah.
So you've got the wacky whatever who is severely underused. I feel sorry for him. I don't know why he accepted this, but anyway,
work is work, baby.
Work is work, I guess. But whatever. Anyway, so Thor Ragnarok does a great job of introducing completely off the wall, very comic book type characters, like those really wild designs, introducing those kinds of things and giving them enough character development and enough personality and whatever that you're like interested in them. Whereas this, as much as we liked, the headcanon guy, what's his character? Right? Well, the freedom fighter girl. What's
Blasty?
Yeah.
What's the character of the freedom fighter girl? What's the character of the guy who has no holes?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they have a joke, but what's their character? Are they selfish? Are they what are they? The mind reading guy. What's his character?
William Harper.
He has a role. He mind reads.
No.
He has no character.
Yeah, and then
which is sad. Great actor, by the way.
Yeah. And the glass cylinder head guy.
Yeah.
Like, he dies, and I think we're supposed to feel something about that,
Yeah.
right? Because, I'd seen him before. I guess that's the reason why we're supposed to feel something,
And it's funny, the only thing I
guess we're in spoilers. We're in spoilers. We're in spoilers.
Spoiler territory, sorry.
The thing we were supposed to feel was, oh no, that action figure I'm gonna buy. Like that's that moment of like they popped the head off the action figure.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of takes on that, but I'll keep it brief.
Yeah.
It's a PG movie,
Yeah.
right? Yet they want to have a scene where a guy's head explodes, right? Now, so they're like, how far do we have to go to make it acceptable? So first of all, he can't be a human. No. There can't be blood. There can't be this. There can't be that. We'll see the beam going into his head, but we won't see the explosion, and then we'll see the body fall. You know what I mean? It's really like masterclass in how to get a PG rating on your head explosion. This is not Scanners. So but anyway, I think there's a lot similar with Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
And I guess we're in full spoilers now.
We fell into it, just like they fell into failure. If we're going to start with spoilers, I think it's fair to discuss that we're at a point now where Scott Lang as a character has gone through so much, and now I think he is happy to ride on his laurels a bit. Because you do have that scene where they're at the kitchen table and his daughter's just like, hey, you're a hero. You fought for people. And he's just like, yeah, I saved the world. But now he's not doing anything else.
He's just selling his book.
Yeah, they don't even make it sound like he has a job. It sounds like he's just doing a book tour. He's in the relationship with Hope, but she's running a huge Fortune 500 company. Yeah. The daughter is an activist. Grandpa and Grandma are back in their wonder years together because they were separated for so long. So what's he doing? And all we kind of saw was, I'm just a man about town. I saved the world. I'm cool. I'm living my best life. I have a book out. People are, hand high fives everywhere.
Yeah, they love him. Yeah.
Yeah, and I felt like that was an interesting thing to see Scott because, and again, I come with the baggage of being a comic book fan. The character does have a bit of an ego in the comic book, but he was a thief. But not like a happy-go-lucky, oh, look at me, I got caught stealing. He was like, no, I'm an a-hole. And I rob people, and this is who I am. And he's actually not that redeemable, in my opinion, in the comics. So I found it very interesting that they made this character more redeemable, and then started to challenge him with hey, your daughter is out here being like, it's cool that you saved the world, but there's still problems. Like, what did you save the world for? There's people who are homeless because of the blip. What are you going to do next? You brought them back, cool, but bringing someone in back from the dead, but then leaving them in the streets doesn't help them. And I thought that was an interesting commentary, and that was the last interesting commentary the film had, in my opinion.
Well, it raises a bit of stakes. It gives a framework for him to go out and be the hero, and when he ultimately succeeds, feather in his cap, and the daughter's all proud of him now. You know? So there's like an emotional stakes there a little bit, like but not explored or really set up with any depth enough for it to really resonate. Like it works on paper, but it didn't work, internally for me at least. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
It felt really thin.
I think, one of the things you mentioned was how much you liked the first two Ant-Man movies, which I also enjoyed. And the idea of sort of a redemption arc of smaller stakes, all this kind of thing. This is a greater MCU kind of issue. The problem that they had, which I haven't seen them solve yet, is they raised the stakes all the way up until Endgame, right? They kept raising the stakes. Finally, we're going to go with killing half of the population of the universe, right? And that's how far we're going. Yeah. Has the stakes been dropped since then? And the answer is no. And they still are trying to get, now it's like, okay, instead of destroying the universe, we'll destroy all universes.
Yeah.
It's like,
that is true.
Everything, it's like getting bigger. It's like, man, I would love a return to just like Ant-Man, instead of, we talked about multiverse, the Spider-Man. Again, I would like to see a Spider-Man movie where he's just beating up people, stealing money from old women, and all this kind of that. He doesn't have to be the next Iron Man. You know what I mean? Like a much smaller stakes, and there isn't a good result to this of going bigger and bigger and bigger. It's just we lose. Like you just said, somebody died and you felt nothing about it. It's like we're losing the sense of drama. So if you bring it back to smaller stakes, then you can build it up again. Right. You were talking about backstory and all this. I don't think Andy has seen all of Loki. I
have not seen all of Loki.
I would assume that the majority of people watching this movie have not seen all of Loki.
Oh, interesting.
Well, not everyone is that hardcore. You're hardcore.
There's a lot. There's a lot to consume.
Yeah, that's fair.
Between the movies are one thing because you get what often 2-3 a year, something like that.
Something like that.
3
That's
is
too much already.
Yes.
That's reasonable. It's doable for me at least. But then. I want to tack on another, maybe 80 hours of television, you know what I mean, with all the different series and stuff. And if I'm not really loving it, trust me, there's other stuff I really do want to get into, you know what I mean? So
getting back to writing and all this kind of thing, and offloading, I really find it ridiculous that there was no sort of context given for Kang. It was just oh yeah, he did this, we saw it yesterday, and it was I don't know, what are his powers? I don't know, what is he do? You have no sense of what he's about, and that's just we did in the Disney Plus, so we're fine. Man. True. Man, a little montage, a little something. Also, from a business point of view, if they did some flashback sequences to the Disney Plus show, people be like, oh, that's what's on Disney Plus. That looks great. I want to see this. I want to get it. So it also makes sense from a business point of view. I think it's just it's just a bad artistic there's so much that trying to cram into this movie, but I think it could have been handled in a more cohesive way. I think there's a lot to explore in terms of Kang. There's a lot to explore in terms of the quantum realm, you know? And these feel like squandered opportunities, missed opportunities.
You'd mentioned, early on there, you're not sure who maybe these movies are for, right?
Yeah,
that was a question.
Yeah.
And, I really wonder that myself because, okay, if we're going to create all these spin-offs to these television shows to explore, even more deeply, because the 30-something movies haven't, been enough, to explore further into this world and individual characters and their origins and all that stuff, And then you got the movies that are giving you all this, like you say, these massive sort of scope things every single time. Really, unless I'm really invested in the world of Marvel, there's not much for me to go on because I know now what I'm going to get out of every single Marvel product. It
Yeah.
has the same feel. It has the same look. It has pretty much the same tone. You know, there's not a lot of sort of individual space for a director's vision or whatever. And it is very possible. Look at, say, the movie Logan. You know, completely different. James Mangold, I think. You know, and took it in just a wild tone that I never expected from an X-Men. You know, thing like super bizarre.
Fantastic film too.
Yeah, super good. You know, and there are you know some other examples just in even the superhero realm, like and the idea of powers. I mean, they're just so. Just everybody's got powers now, and you know that they're going to be throwing each other against buildings for about an hour long. Right. There was a movie I saw. I think it's called The Innocents. It's about these kids. I believe it's Norwegian, Scandinavian. They're these kids, like young kids, 5 or 6 years old, living in this apartment complex in I think it's in Norway. Okay. And it turns out one of them has powers, and you know,
oh, wow. No,
she drops a rock, and he's like 5 years old, and he just makes it go sideways.
Oh, cool.
But then he's got a really bad, pretty nasty character, and it becomes this battle, and it's like this. It's dark. It's on the horror tip, but like something completely different that explores the idea of superpowers.
Well, Brightburn, right?
Brightburn's a good example. Yeah.
What's the other one where those teenagers they're flying around?
Chronicle.
That's what I was looking up.
Yeah.
I was like, Fantastic Four director.
Yeah, there's a lot of you know, evidence or a lot of cases where they would do something, you know, allow some interest and some personality into them.
Yeah.
But that is not what's happening with Marvel. From my point of view, it's cookie cutter, you know, and they'll find the young and upcoming directors, but then they're like, no, you don't get to be you. We're gonna pay you big, but you got to make it Marvel. And
but that's entirely intentional. It's like
I know, but I'm saying it leaves. Almost like I'm not excited anymore. I'm not excited for a Marvel movie anymore because I know what it's going to be.
Right. And I can see like at some point being like, oh, they're getting like Chloe Zhao from Nomadland to do a Marvel movie. What is this going to be? Mm-hmm. And now we've had that happen enough times that we're like, I know what this is going to be.
Exactly.
You know,
well, and actually, you know, I guess I've talked about this in the future because the episode has not come out yet. But I talked about how a lot of 22 movies are kind of cookie cutter, and that's this thing that there's no recognizable style. Mm-hmm. You can't tell. Like if I show you if we somehow chopped out this part of your memory and I showed you like 5 random MCU movies, I'm like, who directed these?
Mm-hmm. Oh boy,
based on their previous filmography.
Yeah.
You cannot tell me.
No.
Yeah, whose style is it?
There's a little bit, the Chloe Zhao reference is...
you think you could tell from...
Not specifically, but I'll say that had a tone that was maybe a little unique.
Okay.
I would have said that, is it Thor Ragnarok had a certain tone?
Yes.
Yes.
You know?
Guardians of the Galaxy, yes.
Yes.
You know,
it's, I'm not saying it's totally like, you know, they're completely like muzzling their directors or whoever in their vision, but it's like you say...
Who directed Spider-Man? Who directed Avengers Age of Ultron? Like, you know, there's no style.
And Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, I can tell you that it had... From my eyes, zero personality that wasn't exactly MCU the whole way through. You know? Yeah.
By the way, I have another title. So, Ant-Man 3, Ant-Man Family, How Ant-Man Got His Groove Back.
plus Kang.
How Ant-Man Got His Kang Back.
Yo, man. You know who you should be working for? Hey, Marvel, I got somebody. Yeah, Marvel, anyone?
I have no sense of style, and I like money, so come talk to me. I'm a first-time director.
I have no sense of style. It's hilarious.
I got tons of titles.
Yeah.
Titles.
I got titles.
Yeah.
I got titles for it.
Yeah. These villains with the blue-faced villains, right? Or the sort of soldiers, the evil soldiers of Kang.
Were they human?
Who knows? See, that's what I'm saying. If we could have removed a handful of elements that were unnecessary and just sort of noisy, and taken the time and the focus to just sort of like dig into like what are they? Are they replicants? Are they you know, like some sort of weird clone? Are they brainwashed? Did he invent them? Like, who knows? It's a quantum realm.
Right.
Anything's possible. Maybe, I don't know. Right?
I kept thinking maybe it's
Never gets
people that
discussed.
he's in his prisons that he's putting in these suits that they lose control. Like, but we never see it.
No, it's not explored at all, and therefore they're not. I'm not engaged with it. They're
No.
not scary. They're not
No.
threatening. They're just grunts with guns, just that with almost like no intelligence at all.
Right.
They're just like they're automatons or something,
Yeah.
because there's no personality whatsoever.
And that makes for bad villains. Like, bad
really
henchmen
does.
to me.
And about the villains, the villains in this movie, aside from Kang, like they had next to no personality. It would be interesting for them to have, again, sort of pared it down and focused on about 3 or 4 sort of villainous characters that had a lot of personality and sort of uniqueness to them and how they maybe work together, what the hierarchy was, why they do what they do for Kang. And the only one I think that I can think of that stood out was Darren, and his new title is what again?
MODOK.
MODOK. Who was basically played for laughs
Right.
for the whole thing, and they really milked that joke of the weird stretched head, giant head, too much, and it was humorous and a very bold choice. The first time they showed it, like, oh, right on, guys, like that's pretty crazy of you. But then they milked that and milked that and milked that, and then I didn't understand his motivation at all for like going on the warpath to like kill these people. Aside from I know there was history.
I lost
all
to
this.
them, so I'm angry.
Exactly, and he's angry and all that. But then, even more confusing is that he gets the shit kicked out of him, and I guess that's enough for him to totally turn coat. Yeah. And now he's like, "At least I died in adventure." Like how did this like change of this betrayal happen and this change of alliance? Like I don't get
A
it.
teenage girl called you a dick, so you completely changed your allegiance?
That's right. Don't be a dick. Oh, you're right. I am a dick. Like, me killing all those people before didn't tip me off to my assholery. But that confused the lights out of me. And it again, it feels like the writing was in the service of checking boxes to make a plot fit together, rather than tell any sort of meaningful story,
Yeah, because they needed someone. So later on, when Kang is using his force field, they needed someone to be able to break the force field. And the only thing you could do was to show that MODOK has now turned on him, and the only reason he turned on him is because of something a teenage girl said to him.
Yeah.
And that's, again, very much to what you were saying, Vince. It's all these connecting the dots. Like, we know we need someone to break his shield. That's going to be MODOK. How do we get there? This.
You can see the glue and duct tape.
Yeah,
you can see it. You can see it.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And the other thing that annoyed me about that whole ending is like all the way up. Like it's got this thing. I don't know why I'm relating so much to other movies today, but there's this great movie called The Third Man with Orson Welles. Classic movie. It's often given as an example of how to build up a character without seeing the character.
Oh.
And so the entire first half of the movie, people are talking about this third man that was somewhere and how important they are and whatever. And that's what you get in this, where they're like, the guy, I forget how they refer to him, but the guy is looking for you. He's you left us to the guy. They just keep saying that.
And then
building
at
up,
one point
and
they divulge, it's the Conqueror, but they don't say
right, exactly.
Right?
Yeah. And then it's finally revealed. So that's like, Third Man, finally Orson Welles makes his appearance. It's like, and you just feel like he just did the greatest performance ever, even though he's done nothing.
Oh, that is cool,
right?
yeah.
And that's the point. It's like you build it up so that when the character appears, it's like, oh my God, it's the guy.
Yeah.
The big reveal. And so he's so fearsome from the beginning. And I thought that was very good. And then he even mentions like, wait, have I killed you before? Like I've killed Avengers. I've killed, the guy with the axe, all this kind of thing.
That was.
And then he
like
gets defeated by a bunch of ants and the joke character.
Okay.
That's what takes him down?
I was so upset to see him get carried away by ants because like you said,
Sorry. He gets defeated not just by ants, but by confused grandpa's ants.
Yeah. Grandpa Pappy Pym
Exactly. Sorry.
comes in. No, but that's it. Grandpa Pappy Pym shows up with an army of ants that are, by the way, again, time travel has been a time dilation happened that caused the ant farm that
Did
they
anyone
had.
say Deus Ex Machina?
But that's the thing. See, this is what I was talking about that bothers me as to why Kang can't do anything with time travel, but these ants somehow had a 1,000-year dilation and created a technocratic super something.
Yeah.
What? And then, but Pappy Pym shows up, and for some reason, ants that are not immortal, multiple generations. What, did the story of Pappy Pym get passed down through the ants? Like, why do the ants now, 1,000 years later?
But you know what?
doesn't
What you
make any
just
sense.
that would have been great if they had like a monument to their memory of Pappy Pym that they'd built out of like.
But that's the thing that, like, I remember thinking, because, you know, they kept showing him with his hearing aid, like, being like,
Right.
I'm hearing sounds, and I'm like, it's the ants. I know, like, in my head, I was just like, I get it, it's the ants. And then when they finally did the reveal, I'm like, but why would, like, when they explain, because I thought it was the ants now. But no, they explained that it's 1,000 years has passed for them. From that moment on, I was just like, why do they know who you are? Anyways, that was something that drove me. And then for those ants to show up and save the day, that drove me insane.
The funny thing is the hearing aid. I was like, oh man, Michael Douglas is really old. I didn't think it was part of the plot. Andy, what's your recommendation on this one?
Would I recommend this movie? For people who are not really into Marvel movies, I would say no. You can skip it. There's a lot of other great movies to spend your time on. If you are a Marvel fan, well, then you have to see it. You don't have a choice anymore because you won't understand what's going to happen anywhere else going forward.
That's funny.
Yeah, you have to see
That's
it.
funny.
Yeah.
Brian?
I would say if you have the time, read the comic books. Honestly, get like the subscription for Marvel Unlimited. And not that they're paying us, but hey, maybe one day Marvel. But like read some of those back issues, read some stuff on Kang because the character is really interesting, and Scott Lang in the comic book is kind of a jerk and far more interesting to me in my opinion than the cinematic version. And much to like Andy said, if you are a fan of these, you will want to see this movie, even if it's not the greatest thing. And if you're not a fan, this is not the point to jump in. There's a whole generation of kids who didn't necessarily grow up watching all these movies, and if this is one of their earliest Marvel films, I would feel so sad for them because this is not a good example of what Marvel had tried to build so far. So I would say skip this one, wait till later, watch it another time, go back and watch some of the older stuff, get reacquainted, fall in love with the franchise again, and then maybe don't see this one if you don't have to. Read the wiki page.
Yeah, that might do it. That
read
might
the
be
wiki
enough.
page.
Good point.
My recommendation is to see this movie. Go see this movie. I forget which one is my camera. Go see this movie. Go with friends. Buy multiple tickets. Go see it multiple times. Make it a huge success so that Marvel thinks we should make more movies like this. And this will help accelerate the demise of Marvel because people don't want this. And we'll get back to having movies other than Marvel, Star Wars, and horror movies in theaters. So please accelerate that demise so that we can move on from this time period.
That's right.
But you know what?
I gave away our plan.
Yeah, episode
Vincent,
1,
my God.
buddy.
Yeah, so I don't recommend it. Anyway, thank you for tuning in to another episode. Sorry if I'm being insensitive, but the other musicians that were killed in a knife attack, what happened there?
Oh, they never found the killer. It was really gruesome. We were talking about a lot of insides on the outside. This is getting really bad. I better go check the breakers in the basement.
Man, this is really messed up. I wonder what happened here. This is the studio. Did we arrive on time?
No, goddammit, we're a day early. They haven't even arrived yet. Goddamn quantum shifter. Let me recalibrate this thing.
Did you adjust for temporal drift?
Yes. Give me a hand over here.
What the hell?